公民总主笔。
Welcome to a Residence Messenger program on Taipei Broadcasting Station. I'm your host, Ross Darrell-Feingold. Our guest today is pastry chef, or should I say pastry chef extraordinaire, Angela, and a very friendly and happy pastry chef at that, Angela Lai from Taïrroir.
Hi everyone, I'm Angela from Restaurant Taïrroir in Taipei.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You better correct my pronunciation on the restaurant name, and also give it to our audience in Mandarin as well, just in case they don't understand its unique English name.
Okay, so it's Taïrroir, Taïrroir, and this name actually invented from our chef Kai Ho. So his idea was from France, Taïrroir. So it's Taiwan and Taïrroir, so Taïrroir.
What does Taïrroir mean in French?
So it's like your terrier.
Okay.
Yeah, so 就是你的，我不知道怎么讲。
Well, the important thing is that people know that it's a restaurant with delicious food, right?
Yeah.
But before we talk about your current work at Taïrroir, did I get it right this time?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us a bit about yourself. You're not from Taiwan.
Yes, I'm not from Taiwan. I'm actually from Singapore. I'm born and raised there, and I came over to Taiwan to work in 5 years ago.
Now, when you were growing up in Singapore, was it your childhood dream to be a pastry chef?
Actually, no.
What was that childhood dream then?
I wanted to be a lawyer.
You wanted to be like me. Your host is a lawyer. Where did you go wrong then on the path to law? How'd you get on the path to being a pastry chef?
I hated to study.
Well, that's an honest answer. Was there anything you did as a child that was cooking related that helped you in your subsequent career as a chef?
Yes, because my mom has her hobby is actually baking and cooking. So since young, very young, I started hanging around with her in the kitchen. So that's how I actually pick up baking and cooking.
Now, usually when I do have Singapore friends, and usually when they say that they learned cooking from their family, it's often more traditional kind of cooking, more traditional kind of Chinese or Peranakan, Southeast Asian style cooking, not pastry chef, but your mom liked to bake.
Yeah, she likes to bake. So I actually learned baking from her, and then I was like, oh, it's pretty cool. I like working in the kitchen. Yeah. So
she encouraged you to develop that skill, or even when you were still growing up and you didn't like to study, she still tried to make you study harder?
Yeah, I think that happens in Singapore. Yeah, so I did try, because there isn't any much institute of culinary institutions in Singapore. So what happened is back then I actually have to to wait to see what kind of courses that I actually can go for. But in the end, I didn't go for it. I actually went for hospitality management. So I actually graduated in, I have a diploma in that. But then I worked in an office for a year, and I realized, this is not what I wanted. So
you wanted to get back into the kitchen.
So I wanted to get back to the kitchen, and then when I told my mom about it, and she's pretty supportive about it. She was like, "Yeah, go for it. Yeah, just go for it."
And by that time, there were cooking schools available in Singapore that you were able to attend.
Yes, actually back then there was one. It's just that I didn't know whether I was ready for it because
So you need to get psychologically ready for cooking school. Is that what you advise chefs to be?
I think
emotionally ready.
You need to be emotionally and physically ready. Because
that's a good point. It's not all fun and games being a professional chef. So, now, when you say physically ready to go to cooking school, is that like going into military school? You need to get you need to be able to do sit-ups and push-ups, and your fingers need to be strong.
You need to at least if you need to know which one. You're going to be a pastry chef, or you want to be baker, because if you're going the bakery side, yeah, you need a lot of physical strength because you have to handle a lot, tons of dough and everything. But if you want to be a pastry chef, then probably you need to be physically ready, as in working hours wise. You have to be on your feet for many hours and all sorts of stuff. You have to be if you're ready or not. Emotionally ready, it's you know, what happens if you did something wrong, and, you know, people started pushing you, and, oh, what the hell you're doing? Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Okay, so after a period of intense emotional and physical preparation, you eventually went to a pastry school called At Sunrise Global Chef Academy. Tell us about this school.
All right, so like what I said back then, there isn't a lot of like culinary institutions, so there were two at that time, at that point of time, and At Sunrise was one of them. The reason why I chose this school was because it's pretty cool. It's up in a hill back then, because they actually shift to another place right now. So back then was up in a hill, and you have to like climb a lot of stairs up, and I went to the...
Wait, there are no hills in Singapore.
There is one! Oh no, there's actually more than one.
There's one mountain that's not really a mountain, and there aren't many hills.
Mount Faber?
Yeah, it's not really a mountain.
Small little hill. Yeah. So I went to the open house, and that's where I met one of my mentor, Chef Frederick. So that's the part where I actually feel like, oh, I have to go to this school, because, you know, the way how he teach, the way how he, you know, talk about pastry, the passion that he have, it's like, well, it's very different.
Is that an important consideration when anyone who wants to go into this field is looking at a cooking school? Is it the style of the teaching that people should, like you said, you went there, you met them, and you felt it was the right place, or is it just the reputation? You know, a lot of people go to that one very famous cooking school. We won't mention its name, but it has a color in the name, and part of that is because it has a great global reputation, and they have locations in different parts of the world, and you know what you're getting when you sign up. What should people think about or look into when they're picking a cooking school or a professional chef program?
I don't know, for, you know, like to others, I'm not sure, like, know what they should look into, but for me, at that point of time, I was looking at, you know, I wanted like to know more about all the basics and stuff, all the foundations, and then the connection that you have with the chef, with the instructor. And at that point of time when I was there, he really taught us really, really well. So he, you know, it feels comfortable to be taught by him. And I felt that, you know, this is not just the branding name of the school. Probably, yes, one of it might help, but, you know, to me, it's more important, like, you know, what I can learn from the chef. Yeah, so probably I would, you know, to people who really wanted to be in this industry, probably, you know, you can go have a few of the institute first, and maybe read up a little bit more about it, then you know, go for it, because you never know who you meet, like, you know, especially instructor wise. Yeah.
What were some of your best classes when you were at the pastry chef school?
My best classes.
Did you get grades? Do you get like regular grades, like a university? You get A, B, C, or?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, so what were your best classes?
My best classes, I would say, it's actually interesting to know. It's sugar class.
Well, what is sugar class?
So it's what we use, like, you know, we do sugar molding, like molding sugar into sculptures and everything. Yeah, and then our instructor, you know, he would teach us, Chef Frederick. So that's
not really about the taste. It's
not about taste. It's like a molding. Yeah, it's like making a sculpture, making a, you know, a sugar showpiece. Yeah, because it's not like about tasting, and it's about, like, you know, I'm not an artistic person, so probably that is more interesting to me.
But you still did well, even though you're not an artistic person.
Not too bad.
Well, were there any classes, be honest, were there any classes where you really struggled, where either you didn't get the shape correct, or the taste correct, or the color, the presentation?
Like the molding part. There's a part where we are doing, like, you know, marzipan. So it's like using almond paste to make like to mold into like shapes, animals, or you know, like flowers and everything. Yeah, mine wasn't really realistic.
It didn't look like it didn't look like anything.
Somewhere there.
So somebody wants like a marzipan or a mold of their their significant other for Valentine's Day, maybe they should have come to you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Might look like someone else.
don't come to me. And I think like bread. Yeah, bread wise, like bakery wise, I think is one of my weakness.
Why would for a pastry chef, why would say a certain type of pastry or cake be a strength versus say types of bread? What might a chef struggle with in learning or preparing these things? Maybe too much sugar, not enough butter.
Sometimes it's like temperature. Sometimes.
Oh, so it has to do with you. If you have a good normal internal body temperature, then you're going to get the bread correct.
No. It's not my internal body temperature. It's more like room temperature and like temperature control. Like sometimes the water content and the temperature of the water of the flour is different, and probably maybe the time takes is longer or shorter, and you have to know how to how to see whether it's ready or not.
So the important lesson here is if you want to be a great pastry chef, you need to get good grades in high school chemistry, so you can prepare for the water and the
yes, you need to at least know what's going on within the chemistry reaction between all these things.
So when you finished the pastry school, Angela, what was the plan? Did you want to work in say like a boutique bakery, like a small kind of specialized bakery kind of business, or did you want to work in large restaurants? What did you have in mind when you were studying for, what was the plan for what your first jobs would be when you got out of pastry school?
When I got out of pastry school, I have no idea what I want to do.
So you didn't know whether you wanted to go work for like an industrial cookie maker, or
I wanted to try out a restaurant at that point of time, because when I was a trainee, I worked in a pastry shop, and then I also worked in a hotel.
A hotel restaurant or a hotel bakery?
It's a hotel pastry and bakery. So what happened was I felt that I don't have any restaurant experience, so I actually went into restaurant right after I graduated.
And you worked in some really well-known, highly regarded restaurants in Singapore in different roles: chef de partie, junior sous chef, commis 1, 2. What are the different titles within the pastry side of the kitchen for our listeners who aren't familiar with the level of seniority and the different jobs within the pastry side? Could you explain that for us?
All right, we in a restaurant we start from 3. Actually, it's almost the same. So we start from commis 3 to 1, and then you have a demi chef de partie, a chef de partie, blah blah blah. All the way up. So do I have to explain all?
Well, tell us a little bit about what the different roles.
Yep. So for commis, it's more doing all those smaller things, and then you don't really have to know research and develop that kind of stuff. So it's usually doing all things delegated by probably your chef de partie, or your chef, or your sous chef, blah blah blah. But then for a CDP, it's more. So chef de partie is the chef of the station. So they actually have to have a lot of different roles, small paperwork, maybe ordering, blah blah blah, and then production wise, how they actually list down all the production, and then how the commis look after the commis, and how the commis actually do all the productions and stuff. So they have to oversee, and then the sous chef and also the chefs is oversee the whole thing, and then probably at the part where you have to research and develop a little bit and then of course chef, you have to do everything.
Now when you were the more junior levels, what were the biggest challenges you had personally when you first started working in restaurants as a pastry chef at the junior entry level positions?
Oh, I have to understand what my chef was talking about.
Well, he had an accent that was difficult.
Yeah, the accent it's pretty difficult to understand in the beginning. Yeah.
And what about as you rose in seniority? What are some of the the newer challenges that came your way?
I think it's working with people.
So it's not always about the menu or about the customers, the people who come to the restaurant.
Customers maybe a little bit, but I think working with people is like the main issue, because you have to get everyone together and work well together, all the teamwork and everything, and that's how everyone can achieve more.
Is that more challenging in the larger restaurants versus being in a specialized bakery?
In a larger restaurant, I would say yes. The more people you have, the more challenging it is. Yeah. And
the reason why I ask is you did work at the Marina Bay Sands in Singapore, which is a huge place. Exactly.
Yes.
It's an integrated resort, as they like to call it in Singapore, which means it also has a casino, but it also has it's a big hotel with all sorts of other leisure activities, shows, things like that. So you have big crowds.
Huge crowd.
Every night in the restaurant. What was that like, working in such a large operation?
Actually, our restaurant wasn't really large. I mean, Gisela isn't that big. Yeah, so it's still okay. Yeah, but I actually worked in the pastry shops before. So, every day, all you need to do is quantity, and that's pretty tiring. Yeah, because it's a lot, really a lot to cater to, a few thousand rooms, and then you have a few thousands of people in the casino. So it's that's.
So you were supporting both sides, the hotel side as well as the
that was casino. Before that was before I moved to Gisela, because that was when I realized that wasn't really what I wanted. So I actually request to go to Gisela. Yeah, and that's when I realized that's why I wanted to be a restaurant. Yeah, working in a restaurant.
Did anyone ever come into the restaurant after winning a lot of money in the casino and order a lot of pastries?
They can't just have the pastries, but we do have guests who comes in requests, and we really have to give it to them.
This is after they've won a lot of money and they come in and they want to celebrate.
A lot of big rollers in.
What do big rollers like to eat as far as pastries and desserts goes? Is there a habit?
We have one who wants souffle every time she comes in.
It's a she.
It's a
she. Female high roller.
It's a she, yeah.
What is the connection between the souffle and being a high roller on the casino floor?
Probably the sugar makes her high.
she's not high enough from the gambling. She needs more sugar.
She needs more sugar.
Yeah, when you were working in these very nice restaurants in Singapore, you worked with both Singaporean chefs and Western chefs. You mentioned before the challenges with learning the accents of the different people you're working with. What's some of the differences between working with Western chefs and chefs from Asia, such as Singaporean chefs?
Actually, I felt that there isn't any differences.
So food is just a universal language.
Yeah. I think food and music is a universal language. So it's about the same.
Yeah, even the flavors, or the way a Singapore chef or an Asian chef versus a Western chef might want to adjust a recipe for something.
Flavors wise, yes, but working style wise, then probably I would say no. But yeah, flavor wise, yes.
Yeah, what are some of those differences, especially when it comes to pastry?
When I work with my mentor, Chef Alan in Gisela, I think French really like exotic flavors, but exotic to them is passion fruit, banana.
Banana's exotic to them?
Yeah, pineapple.
Things that are very normal in this part of the world for...
I don't know. It's exotic to them, yeah. So, mango, coconut, yeah.
So they wanted to use more of that?
They would like to use more of that.
Because it fits their conception of an exotic
dessert. exotic kind of flavors, I don't know, and add a little bit of pepper, that kind of thing.
And what did you tell them? Sorry, boss, this is you're overdoing it on the false exotic flavor.
Not really, but I would just tell him, I was like, that's not exotic. That's what the flavors are in Singapore.
Yeah, exactly. Singapore does have some wonderful
tropical fruits.
And desserts as well, but I mean, they're especially famous for the more local style desserts, not the Western style desserts. Was that changing though? Since you're more on the Western pastry side of the pastry cooking and recipes, is that changing in Southeast Asia, or are people now do they love Western style pastries just as much as they like the more traditional Southeast Asian?
I think it's about the same. They like it both. Yeah.
So what's the future for the quay and the Southeast Asian style?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah. Okay, now I'm gonna ask you a really difficult question, okay. Chef Angela. Do you make desserts with durian, since you're from Singapore? Do you make durian cakes and durian cookies?
I've done it before.
Yeah.
But seriously,
how do you taste?
I'm a Singaporean, but I don't really like durian.
Is that why you left Singapore? Because you don't like durian?
Don't let my mom know that.
But what's up with that? Come on, durian cookies and cakes and ice cream.
It's too pungent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too pungent. I mean, like, you just use a little bit of it. It's gonna cover all the other taste because it's so strong.
But for people who don't know, it does work with dessert, right? You can make a durian cookie and a durian.
You can do a lot with durian actually, and durian tastes best frozen.
So it's best as an ice cream.
Yes. It's like, if you freeze the durian and then you eat it, it's like, very nice.
Yeah, have you put that on the menu at Taïrroir?
No.
That was a lot of no's.
No,
but Taiwan, people eat durian here in Taiwan as well. But the desserts are not as common. You don't see that as often here. You don't see the ice cream and the other kinds of desserts with durian like you see in Singapore.
Yeah, not as often. Yeah.
So you're not gonna try and push that.
No, I'm not gonna try that. It's too strong for the restaurant.
Oh, the whole chef, the whole kitchen.
The whole kitchen and the dining room. Yeah, it's gonna stay there because it's too strong. Yeah.
Well, we'll look forward to that in the future.
No, better not.
You're gonna change the perception of the durian dessert.
I used to love it when I was young.
The fresh durian or the desserts?
As in fresh durian and dessert. I mean, I don't know, since when I was like 20, yeah. And I started finding it a little bit too pungent. And soon I couldn't take it anymore. Well,
I do recall from when I lived in Singapore, it is truly a genuine love that Singaporeans have for durian. And Malaysians and Thais as well. I mean, it is just extraordinarily popular.
My mom loves it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
For desserts as well. Did she bake those at home? The durian?
She did it before and I went crazy. I was like, no! Not in the fridge! It's contaminated!
You have any special memories, before we talk about working in Taiwan, about working in the restaurants in Singapore?
Sorry?
Any special memories about working in restaurants in Singapore before you moved to Taiwan?
Special memories? Actually, working in Taïrroir was one of my best, working experience in a restaurant. Because the team was strong and the teamwork and everything between not only the pastry side, but it's like the whole thing.
Great. Well, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about your current work at Taïrroir. Did I get it right this time? I kind of messed it up, didn't I?
Yeah, you kind of messed it up.
Okay. We'll take a short break. You're listening to Residence Messenger on Taipei Broadcasting Station.
It's been a while. It's been like a whole day since I stopped so you could hold me. This child awaits, strong in the faith. Lord, you are the refuge that I can't wait to get to.
Welcome back to Residence Messenger on Taipei Broadcasting Station. Our guest today is Chef Angela, pastry chef at Taïrroir. How did I do this time?
A little bit better.
Thank you. How did you come to join the team at Taïrroir?
So, I met Chef Kai Ho in Singapore, back then in Taïrroir, Singapore. So, we were friends. Yeah. Okay, so when he came back to Taiwan, because he's from Taïrroir, and when he came back to Taiwan, he first started out in the first, which is a couple of years ago, and that was when I came over to Taiwan, and then I visited him, and then I jokingly say that oh, how come you didn't like hire me as a pastry chef? So when he was preparing for Taïrroir, he was like, hey, you want to come over to Taiwan to work? I'm like, oh, why not? Yeah, and then like in less than 2 months, I'm already in Taiwan, and this is my 6th year.
6 years already. What did you know about Taiwan or Taipei's restaurant scene before you took this job?
Well, actually, I knew nothing about it.
Had you visited Taiwan before, though, for tourism?
Yes, I did, as in for tourism. But, at that point of time, I don't really visit the restaurants yet.
You just go to the night markets and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, just go to the night market, all the sightseeing and everything. Yeah, all the tourism spots.
So you didn't know much about the fine dining side of Taipei?
Not really. Yeah, at that point of time, no. So, actually, a lot of people ask me, why I choose to come over. And it's like, oh yeah, because Kai asked me.
It's a good, honest answer. So when you began at the restaurant, what did you discover was some things different or unexpected for you as the pastry chef, as far as what the expectations of the customers, the diners, with regard to pastries? I mean, did the waiters or even the customers come running into the kitchen and tell you you did some pastry wrong? I mean, did they have something unexpected for you based on your previous experience?
Previous experience, I did once that guests didn't really understood the dessert that we were making. So.
Just once in 6 years? That's amazing.
Maybe once, maybe not as bad as that once. Probably maybe they did tell our service staff about it, like, oh, maybe 就是吃不习惯.
Okay, what happened with this one incident?
This one was like, oh, this is horrible, this is not good at all, that kind of thing. So I was like,
wow.
oh.
Sounds like they were quite upset.
Yeah.
What was the dessert?
It was a sour plum. It's actually the new pre-dessert that we're having right now on the menu. So it's Taiwan grapefruit, and then with Taiwanese beer jelly, and with sour plum soda foam. So it's a sour plum soup, that's our main tang. And then so I probably didn't really got used to that kind of flavor. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so they were quite upset over this?
Yeah, they were upset over it. I was like, okay, and then at that night, they were the only table which is upset about it, so I don't know how to react to this whole thing, and I was like...
Did you go out and talk to them?
No, because our manager was like, don't bother about it. It's okay, I'll handle it, that kind of thing, yeah. We would take care of this.
So they got really sour over the sour plum dessert.
They got sour about it, but because...
that was a joke, by the way, that's sour over the sour plum.
Yeah, they were sour over the sour plum. So what happened was I actually asked them to, allow them to pick a little bit more from the dessert trolley, because they were there for the dinner. Yeah, and we have a miniature trolley. Yeah, and so I was like, just make them happy.
Yeah, I mean, it's dessert. Yeah, no, they should be happy not get sour over it. Taïrroir is an extremely successful restaurant. It's winning Michelin stars almost every year. What's the secret to this restaurant's success? Besides the great pastry chef, of course.
Okay, I would use the way how Kai would say it's all about love.
All about love.
Yeah.
Love of the customers, or love of the food?
Love of the customer and love of the food. Putting all the love into making all the food and pastry. Yeah.
It can't be that easy, though. There's got to be something more to it than
it's more like
just the love.
Passion, and a lot of hard work from every one of us. Yeah, in the team.
Yeah. Let's focus a bit more on what you do in the kitchen. You mentioned the sour plum dessert and grapefruit. How is it done? What are some of the ingredients you like to use in making pastries?
I like to use what Taiwan produce. I really like to, because I find that Taiwan produce is really good. And then so because in restaurant Taïrroir we actually do a lot of flavors where we wanted to be very familiar to Taiwanese flavors. So what we do was we try to put in a lot of different elements where it reminds you of Taiwanese flavors. Yeah, so that's where I actually have to learn more about the culture of Taiwan. Like I ask around, like in our team, our service team, our kitchen team. You guys have any inspiration? Give me some inspiration. Like tell me more about all this culture and everything. So that's putting all this elements into the desserts, and also our chef put it in his cuisine.
So a lot of the recipes are your own original recipes?
I would say recipes are actually quite, the same. Alright. And yeah, probably I tweak a little bit here and there, I change a little bit here and there, but technique-wise, probably sometimes all chefs does it differently. So I would say, yeah, recipes are universal.
And for those of us who are not really familiar what goes on in a restaurant kitchen, especially for the pastry side, how much of the work you do is by hand versus using mixers and other kind of machinery? Do your hands get really into that? Are you really playing around with the food with your fingers?
We do. Yeah, because we do everything like in small batches, so sometimes it's too small for our mixers to mix everything. So probably we have to use our hands. Sometimes you just have to use your hands to molding like tart mold. Like getting all these things done. Yeah, we have to use a lot of our hands.
And are a lot of the desserts that you make, the pastries, are they mostly fruit based, and this lets you use the different Taiwan fruits?
I would say a little bit of everything. Yeah, chocolate, fruits. Yeah.
And which ones have proven really popular over the years? Which desserts? Give us some examples of some things that Taïrroir that the customers really love. It was just a big hit from the dessert menu or the pastry.
I would say everything.
Well, I'm gonna follow up with the tougher question, but which ones were a big hit?
Oh, that's a tough one. Which one was a big hit? Let me think. I would say one of it is our cannelé.
Which is what for our audience who's not as familiar with fancy pastries.
So it's very caramelized. It's a very, I would say, classic pastry. So it's crispy on the outside, moist, and custardy on the inside. But it's actually very French. Yeah, that was one of our customers' favorite from our dessert trolley. But if you ask me about the dessert, I would say one of it is actually the one that I use, pongbian. So it's like a puff pastry. It's a traditional puff pastry. So from Tainan, and then I actually use it with sesame oil to make ice cream, and then to match it with it, and then a little bit of boba. And then a little bit of ginger. Yeah, one of the popular ones was that, and our Taïrroir pineapple cake, which is our signature. Recently got removed from the menu. Yeah, that was one of our signature as well. It's we use this camellia oil, which is kutayo, and then pineapple Taiwan jingzhuan fengli, which is pineapple, and then to make into like sorbet, pineapple cheese, pineapple marmalade. Yeah, so it's that's actually one of our favorites from our guests.
And what about you mentioned that the sour plum customer didn't have a great time.
It's new.
were there any other desserts that people were okay with, but there wasn't necessarily a high level of enthusiasm for, that maybe surprised you, that you thought people would be more enthusiastic about?
I think the sour plum is one of it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll give that one some time, right? Maybe,
yeah, because it's still new.
it's still new, so maybe over time people will come to really appreciate the joy of the sour.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
You mentioned things that come on and off the menu. They're not on the dessert trolley anymore. How often do you change it up?
Well, it depends on my mood.
Yeah. Well, you see, you've now taken on complete control of the pastry side.
Yes, I know, not really complete. Our chef Taïrroir has the big say. Yeah, so it depends on the season.
And that's because of the fruits changing seasons?
Yeah, one of it is that, and one of it is because we, sometimes, having that kind of food, it's more comfortable at that season.
Right, more for the summer or the winter,
Yeah.
depending on what it is.
So we usually change it seasonal. Or, sometimes because, the fruits in Taiwan, the produce in Taiwan, sometimes the season is too short. So sometimes we want to use like different, like produce. We would change for a very short period of time. Yeah, so sometimes, we don't change like only 4 times, we change more than that. Yeah.
And because you're sensitive to what's available and the how long a season is, well, if there's cold weather like right now, or if there's a lot of typhoons during the summer, which might have a effect on the crops, do these things actually have a impact on what's available to you?
Yes. It does. There was once I remember that I really wanted to use figs, and then I actually ordered from our Xiaonong, and what happened was the figs got blown off by typhoon.
So what did you do? Did you go to the supermarket and just get some figs out of a package?
I have to change the whole dessert. Yeah, I changed the whole thing. Yeah, because I didn't want to to use different figs. Because I tried that before and I really liked that, so I was like, okay, never mind, we'll just change to something else. And then I have to come up with something different and we change it.
So now you need a backup plan for weather emergencies.
We always have to have a backup plan.
Well, redundancies and contingency planning is always important. Do you actually visit the farms yourself to check about and see how they grow some of the produce before you use it?
Not all, but we do sometimes. Yeah, not all, but we do. Yeah. But so far, because of time issue, so we so we usually ask them to send to us and we try first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of time, it's the new year. It's 2021. Give us a preview. What are some new or special things you're going to have on the pastry trolley this year?
Oh.
Maybe let us into some little secrets. Some previews.
Trolley wise, not really, but dessert wise, I'm actually changing something. Yeah. So we have like something with papaya. Yeah, and some flavors from Taichung.
You're being really reluctant. It's hard to get some information out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's a secret.
Yeah, so they'll just have to come to the restaurant.
You have to come to the restaurant and try it out.
Not only is it 2021, but the Lunar New Year is coming up as well. Year of the Ox. Whether or not it's at the restaurant at Taïrroir or just for people planning for home and meals with their family, what are good pastries people should eat in the Year of the Ox, or to welcome in the Year of the Ox?
Oh, seriously, because I didn't really spend New Year in Taiwan, so I don't really know what do you really eat.
If you were at home with your family in Singapore for a New Year of the Ox, what kind of pastries would you be baking for a family meal?
Pineapple tarts. Yeah, pineapple tarts are the #1 favorite for Singapore Chinese New Year goodies.
Every year, it doesn't matter which year of which animal,
year.
which year of the zodiac it is.
Yeah, every year. Yeah, but I like to add a little bit of spice inside. I'll add chili into the
chili in the pineapple tart.
Yeah, in the pineapple tart.
Oh, that does sound spicy.
Yeah, but it's really good.
What about globally? Even though we're here in Taiwan, when you look at websites or cooking programs or news about the industry, what are some trends in pastries or for pastry chefs that you see in the near future in 2021?
Probably, like something healthier in a way, like, less sugarized, keto.
Okay, but a lot of things you mentioned, like creme brulee. I mean, these things are not necessarily, low fat or healthy, right?
Yeah, so I guess, somehow the trend will be like making them healthier. I don't know. Yeah.
How are they going to do that? Are they going to substitute whole milk with one of those fake milks, like Oder or something?
Maybe like oat milks, like maybe almond milks. I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that really feasible though with some of these desserts? I mean, could you really substitute something else for butter and still get the same taste and the same texture?
Well, you never try, you never know.
well, you could try, but it might come out as a disaster.
I'm not really interested in trying those out.
Okay, so you're going to be the iconoclastic counter. You said, no, we got to do it the old way.
Probably maybe make it a little bit like, less sweet or something. Because I always try to find balance, like in our pastries.
But you're not ready to give up the butter and the whole milk.
Yeah. I love butter. Yeah, I'm not ready to give up the butter.
Could you get good butter here in Taiwan?
Oh yeah, we do. We make our own butter with 四方鲜奶油.
Okay. Yeah. I can tell your Mandarin has gotten much better during your 6 years here in Taiwan.
Yeah, I did, and I speak like a Taiwanese.
Yeah, you also speak Taiyu now as well.
Not really, but vulgar languages, yes. All top well, chef.
But in the kitchen, do you mostly speak in English or in Mandarin, or do you need to use some of those specialized French terminology for pastries as well?
Okay, a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but most of the time we speak Mandarin we speak Mandarin in the kitchen. Yeah, and not only in the kitchen as in the restaurant. But sometimes, I do say some things in English because it's something I couldn't express in Mandarin, and I'll express it in English. Yeah.
You mentioned the customer who was unhappy about the sour.
Oh yeah.
The sour flow.
Yeah.
Have you had even a happy experience where a customer asked for something unique or it was just unexpected? They asked for a different dessert, they just wanted something more traditional. They looked at the dessert trolley, they were kind of confused. They said, "Oh, can I just get like a plain cookie?" Or do you have any other entertaining experiences?
Entertaining experiences, maybe not in Taïrroir. Yeah, but when I was working in Singapore, there was one really entertaining experience. Was my stomach is crawling. Sorry.
You always talk about pastry making you hungry.
Yeah, making me hungry. Excuse me. So what was pretty funny was when I was working in Singapore in a bistro, which is now no longer there. Okay, so what happened was we have a regular who brought his friend over, and he was like, my friend doesn't eat anything related to cow. So no beef, no cow, or whatever, anything. Could you guys print out a menu? Everything related to cow, beef, everything on the menu. And then when they came in, we really did it. And then when he came in, we showed him the menu, and he was like, "What is going on? Why is everything that something that I couldn't eat?" Yeah. So that was pretty fun part. And there was another one, which is I have to write happy birthday on every single plate.
What do you mean by write it? Write it by hand or write it with
chocolate?
With chocolate, okay.
With chocolate, like on every single plate, like from the appetizer all the way to dessert, and with a candle.
This was the customer's request.
Yeah, that was the request.
Well, why would you agree to do that? I mean, it's interrupting your standard operating procedure, isn't it?
I mean, because back then was a bistro, it was a little bit more fun in a way, and then my boss was like, just it's a friend, it's all friends, it's all regulars, and so it was like it's pretty funny, as in because the reaction from the guests is priceless. It's like, no, not again. Why? Yeah. So it's okay. I mean, like if it's not affecting, our food, as in if it's only like presentation wise or that kind of thing, I think it's okay for us to.
So I could come into Taïrroir.
No, not Taïrroir.
You won't do it?
No, not Taïrroir.
You won't write "Happy Birthday, Ross"?
I will write it on the pastry, on the dessert plate, but not on the main course.
Speaking of main courses and Taïrroir, we've been talking about the pastry chef and the desserts where you work. But anything else you'd like to share with us about the restaurant more generally, or about its menu?
Probably, I would say, people come sometimes with different types of perception, but give us.
Well, what do you mean by perception, though? I mean, do people perceive because of the name that it's a French restaurant with a standard French cuisine menu?
So sometimes they will feel like it's more like a French restaurant, or
but it's not.
It's not. It's not really like French.
It's more like.
It's a
what?
French Taiwanese. Because you have, like what we say, we always wanted to give our guests different types of experience. Like you can have a little bit of Taiwanese flavors and some kind of flavors from childhood memories. It would be something that can trigger that kind of memories, that kind of flavors. So I would say come with an open mind. Don't just have that kind of thinking. Oh, this is French or French Taiwanese or you have to taste this way, because it's still very different. Yeah, it's still very different from other restaurants. So come with an open mind. Don't compare us with anyone else. Come with an open mind and really truly enjoy the whole experience.
You have to love it, right? Because it's made with love.
Yeah, so come with an open mind. Don't think about it and don't compare like this one is like from the night market or whatever, that kind of stuff. But think about it, like truly enjoy, open mind, truly enjoy the food and the experience,
including the pastries.
Yeah, of course. Don't compare. I mean, like comparing is so tiring.
Yeah, it sounds like you don't like when customers say that, like, this doesn't taste like my grandma's version.
We are actually happy when say, this flavor is something so familiar. I mean, we like it when guests say something like that. I was like, it reminded me about all this blah blah blah, that kind of thing. But comparing as in don't compare all the restaurants together, that kind of thing. I mean, because all restaurants are unique. Yeah, so give all restaurants a chance.
Yeah, and we hope our audience will give Taïrroir a chance.
Yeah, come.
Yes, okay. Well, we've been joined today by pastry chef Angela from Taïrroir.
Yeah, you got it right.
Thank you. And have a great weekend, Angela. And
thank you.
Eat pastries. Be happy. Show the love.
Yeah, eat desserts first.
Yeah, excellent suggestion. You've been listening to Residence Messenger on Taipei Broadcasting Station.